Hey guys, so just a quick follow-up. It's been a while since I last recorded. I have successfully been able to illustrate both of the strips that were required of me. The newspaper strips are done. I did the crossword puzzles and the Christmas postcards. I was able to do a couple of those extra things as well, and instead of doing a full Christmas book, I put that on the back burner for a bit. I put that on the wait list, right? Because I'm always working on like 4 or 3 books at once. I decided to, since I had so many newspaper comic strips, I decided to compile them into a trade paperback and add a little couple stories sprinkled in between and make it one cohesive narrative. So I've actually kind of made an entire brand new thing, you know. It's an entire book. It's around 50, 60 pages, and it's just about the Tales from the Garden, right? And it follows the dwellers, Blinky, Stinky, Flint the Bug, all of the little childlike characters. I decided whenever I'm at conventions, I always notice there's always like parents and people that really want kind of a more kid-friendly stuff for like 4-year-olds, 2-year-olds, stuff like that. And not to say that Junket isn't for kids, Junket really is for all ages, but there are a couple scenes that might be a little scarier, right? Like in issue 1, there's Oscar fighting his inner demons, and of course, the demon characters, they don't look friendly. So I think making a singular book that feels a little bit more, I don't know, like kid-friendly, more like a fairy tale, I feel like leaning into that direction is helpful. And I think it'll actually be beneficial to have variety in terms of books, right? So I'm going to kind of finish this one. I really think by the end of November, I'll have this book done, and maybe even a little bit of the Groundsman comic that I already had started. It was like an online weekly strip I started a couple months ago. Might as well just kind of wrap that story up with the clown characters, the fox characters, and stuff like that, just to kind of get it going, right? I ended up naming the clown character Kozo the Clown, a mix between Coco and Bozo, right? Just between iconic comic ones and cartoons. And I also ended up calling, originally, right, the fox character was Larry the Fox. He was like a weird kind of BoJack Horseman, kind of Rick and Morty, regular show kind of more gruffy character, more like just gruntled, beat up in life. And he was really ugly. It was supposed to be a Mickey Mouse parody. I ended up turning it into a more kid-friendly, more like actual fantasy, more childlike wonder. And I turned his design to be way more reminiscent of that of like the old 1930s cartoons, the rubber hose animations, stuff like that. So I ended up doing renaming him from Larry the Fox to Finnegan Fox. Sounds more wild, like wondrous, sounds more childlike. And I turned him into a little park ranger as well. So I think it's fitting to have him emerge from comics within the Groundsman story itself. That way our characters are only outside of the superhero suits. They're the same as the cross guards, but it's just them out of costume. I'm going to feature the grounds duck, right? Because Kozo the Clown's going to look at them and be like, hey, you guys look out of character, right? I liked it better when you had the blue suit on, right? He's going to break through the fourth wall, the clown character. He's going to be almost like an annoyance, right? It's going to be kind of like Bill Cipher. It'll be a little bit like Q from Star Trek. It's going to be a trickster god like Loki, or like the Superman, I forgot the name of the little elf guy, or Batmite. He's going to be something similar along those lines. Kind of like a Bugs Bunny, you know, just annoying, nuisance. He's a villain, but he's also kind of entertaining. And I've added, of course, some mythology to it, some ancient worlds and theological kind of concepts of old tapestries, old manuscripts, and entire walls, glyphs, hieroglyphs of his story as a nightmare demon, right? So he's trapped in this vase and he breaks free, and from there he puts Oscar and Curdie to sleep, and it becomes like an enchanted land, just like almost like the Alice in Wonderland cartoons, really. Going to be a little bit different, but I think it's worth it. You're going to travel through Oscar's favorite comics. I get to make a bunch of parody superheroes and stuff, throwaway characters, but the one that does stay obviously would be Kozo. He would be a recurring character. He doesn't get finished off in the story. He just gets delayed for now. he gets trapped in like I think a dream catcher, stuff like that. But I want Finnegan the Fox to be the only character that comes with them to the real world once they wake up. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have it's gonna be the first crossover with Bubble Boy, with all the kind of like kid comics I did when I was younger, all the goofy stuff, stuff like that. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna be fun. Probably gonna have a little Gunny crossover, stuff like that, because I already mentioned it in previous books. Anyhow, Groundsman is the following one. However, right now I'm focusing on Tales from the Garden, right? And it's going to be focusing on the Dwellers. So the Dwellers of the Garden, or Garden Dwellers, I haven't decided yet. They're going to be consisting of the critters, right? They're a bunch of little characters that are in the garden, right? So we get to see them adventure and see places we've never seen before in the Junket story. I really wanted to flesh out this, this enchanted forest, this fantasy land, into a more wondrous place, a more kind of realized place, right? There's different kingdoms, there's different settings, there's different species, right? There's little elves, there's dwarves, stuff like that. So I've recently been kind of diving deep into all of the old school cartoons, especially going back to the origin of Walt Disney's company and the first ever full-length animated feature film, which was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And I've just been going down this rabbit hole. I've compared that one to Sleeping Beauty, to all the others. Pinocchio is amazing, Bambi and all that. And specifically, I've noticed there's more emphasis on the enchanted forest aspect of those kind of fairy tale stories within the comics, right? The Disney comic books, produced by Dell Comics and stuff. So I've just been diving deep into these books, and I've just been taking a bunch of notes about all the different, I've just been listing them off, all the different kinds of like strips and things that are influential. Little did I know that the Bugs Bunny ones, the Porky Pigs, all those comics were less about Looney Tunes or whatever, and it was just the characters going on adventures and finding treasure and stuff. So I've been highlighting them, saving them, downloading the scans, and I've even gotten an old like half comic. I'll probably make a video showing you guys. It's an amazing item. It's called The Seven Dwarves and the Enchanted Mountain. As soon as I saw that, I was like, this is amazing. There was multiple other mini comics that were kind of just not really important. They were like promotional materials for like vending machines, washing machines and like foods and things. But this one was really interesting because it was just specifically a little adventure, right? And it always continues from the original movie. So since my characters, right, the Hoblins, they're like little Smurf kind of people. They're like little garden dwellers, literally. I wanted to emphasize, like, okay, well, let me take some inspiration from these original Disney cartoons. No one's really making modern fairy tales anymore. Comic books have taken a really dark turn. Same goes for movies and animation. It's all dark, right? Nowadays we have the Zack Snyders, we got the Infinity Wars and all this stuff. And in animation we have Invincible is probably the most famous animation happening right now, like the most popular comic animated show right now. It's kind of crazy. And even in comics, like right now, the biggest book that I know of is probably like Absolute Batman and all that kind of stuff. So who knows? Like, even though the James Gunn verse in DC is slightly more friendly, we know what the previous James Gunn movies look like Suicide Squad and all that. So it is a little bit more graphic. It is a little bit more for adults, especially the Peacemaker show and stuff. I feel like we've kind of lost our roots, and I think that cartoons and entertainment should also be entertaining. It should be entertaining and insightful. It should have some mythology mixed in, a little twist of wonder, childlike wonder and imagination and adventure and fantasy, and it always kind of had like a moral understanding, a simple moral undertone. I've recently been diving deep into the free online courses at Hillsdale College, and I've been diving deep into literature, right, from Paradise Lost to Dante's Divine Comedy to children's storybooks and stuff. And I've I've fallen in love with that kind of ancient storytelling. Really, it's old. It's older than any modern thing now. And I think injecting my work with that stuff is way more profound and way more impactful, right? Because once we look at it, it seems like just some Mickey Mouse stuff. In reality, it is a little bit more. It's going to be something that we are able to take inspiration from and take influence from all these older books, and we'll be able to continue. It's like a wellspring of imagination. It's timeless, really. And I think it's important to kind of like emphasize that within all the works that we do. So I'm bringing it back to the reason why I fell in love with comics and animation and all that. I'm bringing it back to what I love. I'm bringing it back to the roots of its origins. And, fantasy adventure, lost treasures, and amazing enchanted forests and world and fun, lovable characters for all ages is really the core of it. And I think it's amazing. So recently I've been collecting a bunch of the old like cartoon comics, Tom and Jerry's, Woody Woodpeckers, Mighty Mouse, Donald Duck cartoons, especially the Carl Barks ones. I've got the Floyd Gottfredson Mickey Mouse cartoons where he goes into the book of Robin Hood and stuff. There's a lot of great like kids stories and kids books. And I think it's a loss that nowadays we don't really have anything like that. It's a real shame, kind of. And I think that it's something we can improve upon. And I'm going to try my best to bring us back to those roots and inject as much of that love and passion into it. So let me show you guys real quick what I've worked on to catch you guys up. Let me show you guys more or less where the book is at right now, because it's currently the book I have the most done of, right? It's the most completed. And I'm just kind of sprinkling in an overarching narrative in between, tying all the strips together in a cohesive way. That way it encompasses one story, one moral narrative, and it feels like one complete package. I don't want it to just be a simple throwaway book, another book with short stories, another anthology book. I want it to feel like this is its own trade paperback, it's its own world, cover to cover. You could enjoy a full, cohesive story. And I always try to do that within every issue, but I want to emphasize it more so now. Because all of the mainline junket ones, it's always going to be a continuous story, whereas in this one, it needs to have a beginning, middle, and end. So I'm kind of integrating all that, and I'm just, again, since I'm researching all these old books and old comics, my brain is super saturated with these imageries and things, and I've even slightly tweaked my art style to fit that style even more. Kind of the rounder, more bouncy kind of designs that the original Disney animators used. The 9 Old Men, those are the legendary animators that really turned the medium into what it is today, right? They were the forefathers for that. They really pioneered it, and I think that if we go to our roots, we can't go wrong. And diving even further beyond that, what they were looking at and what they were studying, right? And I think that the old fairy tale books and the old kind of kids books are transcendent, right? Even though it's simple, I know it seems kind of foolish or foolhardy at first, but when you really look at the symbolism and the mythology behind it, the legend that grows from it, and the moral basis from where they come from, it's a little bit more profound than that. And there's a reason why simplicity is better than, maximalism. Simplicity is better, minimalism is better, more streamlined, simple things, more compact, more all-encompassing. It's way more difficult to do. It's easier to ramble on and on, but it's much more difficult to say everything in a concise manner, right? And that's what I'm kind of learning to do within my work. Instead of adding 1,000 pages of just random adventures, I'm trying to keep it to a minimum while making each page impactful and have as much of that aesthetic, energy, and imagination as possible. So every page turn is, boom, impactful. It's like, whoa, here's another possibility. Here's some more potential within this story. It just ignites the imagination like crazy. And I'm really passionate about this. And I really think that it's important that we go back to our roots and really, transcend what we know as like, oh, it's just some Mickey Mouse stuff. It's just some cartoons and some silly whatever, some old comics, some old dusty books. Well, let's read it. Let's look through it, skim through it. You don't even have to sit there to read the whole thing. Skim through it. By just the images alone, is it something you enjoy? Is it a story that seems good? Is it something that you could, hey, maybe let me tell my friends about this story. Hey, let me tell my kids about this story. Let me tell my whoever, right? Whether you guys are parents or not and all that. I don't have that blessing yet, but hopefully one day I will. And regardless, I think it's beautiful to always have these kind of narratives. The reason I'm going more into this childlike kids book fantasy kind of trajectory is because the newspaper comic strips that I have are literally from I'm doing them for free, right? I'm not getting paid to do them. I'm just doing it out of the love of it. And the reason I love it the most is because the company, it's called A Kid and a Comic, they're sending out the newspapers, which is just only comics. They're sending out the newspapers with all the comic strips to children's hospitals. And to me, every time I'm drawing something, I'm just like, man, what image would really help a kid feel like he's going to another world, right? Almost like a escapism, right, from the hospital bed. Because I just imagine these sick, poor kids. They just want to go home. They just want to have fun. They miss their friends. They miss, their toys. They miss their families. So I just imagine, like, how am I able to bring some warmth, some comfort, and some imagination, some happiness, some joy into their life? And that is such a great reward to me, better than any financial backing I could receive. So I think that's the reason why I'm kind of making these stories into what it is. And I think it's important to always think about the audience. I am making them for myself, technically. I'm making it enjoyable, but I want to specifically make it an enjoyable experience for these younger kids. And that way it'll just broaden my range of books, sprinkle in some more fantasy elements, some princesses, some, forest critters and animals coming to life and speaking, some little dwarves and elves and little adventures, a little dragon with a knight and stuff like that. Just the things that we've kind of lost, right? It's so overlooked nowadays. Everything's so dramatic now, and it used to be kind of filled with wonder. As I've been watching all these old cartoons, I've realized that most of them felt very comforting, right? Very wholesome. And they kind of transported me back to my youth, even though it's been like literally 10, 15 years since I first watched them. To me, it's just transcendent. It transcends time and it transcends age and years, and it's timeless. Watching the Snow White movie again, I didn't realize just how beautiful it was for like 1932, 1942. Insane. It's an amazingly well produced. Frankly, I don't think we have 2D animation that looks even remotely close to that. And it's a shame. We have to go back to our roots, is what I'm saying. I want to capture that feeling. I want to capture that inspiration, that imagination, that warmth, that comfort, and I want to integrate it and inject it into all of my work moving forward. So it's not only now a mythological story about a guy who quits his job. It's now a guy returning to his childhood. That's really what it's all about, right? There's time travel, there's action, adventure, but really what it is, it's about finding that childlike wonder again, igniting the imagination and just moving forward while, remembering and respecting the past, not forgetting about it. I think we could always look back and integrate things from before and put them back in here. I don't think anyone's doing this level of research into it. I'm literally diving into the series of Dell comics, the 4-color comics. It literally, that series ranges from everything, from Woody Woodpecker to Bugs Bunny to Mickey Mouse to Bambi to Snow White to the Seven Dwarves. Endless, right? To Dick Tracy and all that stuff. It's just literally everything you could think of. Popeye, all of it. Felix the Cat, it's all there. Donald Duck, everything. So I'm just diving into that series, saving and highlighting the ones that speak out to me, that resonate to me in that style and that format for the book. And I'm seeing what imagery, what ideas, what story points can I integrate into my own world, right? And I think it's important to always do that, to respect the past, but continue to move forward and pursue that goodness. But yeah, let me show you guys what I've been working on, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. All right, guys, so here we are, and I'm going to show you guys more or less what we have so far. And again, as you guys know, that the Dwellers are a group of characters that are, they're a little bit different. They're a little bit more kid-friendly, a little bit more childlike. So this is Blinky and his dog Stinky, right? We got that. We got the little logo. This is Flint the Bug. He's like a little magic sorcerer or whatever. It's kind of fun, having this kind of stuff here. So let me show you, look. So this is some of the pencils I did for that first strip. Here it is completed with different colors and stuff. And here's the second one that was published through the newsprint paper. As you can see, it's a little bit more simplified and more colorful. And from this, I've learned a lot. Here's the cover sketch I've been working on as well. Here is the third strip, which is, again, it's a lot. I think I've learned a lot more color-wise. I've kept the characters in the foreground super saturated, but I've kept the background slightly less saturated so that it feels like there's more depth of field, more mid-ground, background, and foreground, especially with the blacks and whites and black spotting of the shadows and stuff. And here's the other one, right? So Homebound, it's the characters returning back home after a long quest. He's bringing his buddies with them and stuff, and they get to meet all the hoblins in the village. You get to see them playing with the baby hoblins and stuff, and they're climbing on the mountain, on the giant's arm. They're doing all the little campfire stories, and the heroes get blessed, with the holy, by the holy man and stuff. And they bid farewell. So it's like a simple thing. Again, I realized, I have so many of these, right? So here's Secret of the Shadows, where they're basically journeying through this ancient kind of world. They return to the Mushroom Mountains, and they find this guy called Grandmaster Gloom. He's like a Loki character, or a Maleficent kind of character. He's watching them through a crystal ball. They venture through the mountains and the torches and stuff. So it's a little bit of like adventure and action. You get to see here, this is the setting inside the mountains, where it's a whole bunch of mystery unfolding, all that, bridges that collapse and torches on the wall in the caverns. So that's just 4 of them. And I was like, wow, if I cut that up and put it together into a trade paperback, it's going to be pretty successful. This is that little crossword puzzle that I was going to do, and I did it for Christmas. I have all the characters here, climbing onto the crosswords and stuff. And let me just show you guys. So you get to see the characters, We got Maiko over there, little, mushroom guy. We got Stinky asleep over here, She's with her little Christmas hat on, and we got Flint the Bug on this other side, making a little snowball, making trouble. So I think it's fun, it's something nice the kids will enjoy, and it's kind of entertaining to have drawn characters on a crossword puzzle. I'm definitely going to include this into the Christmas book. Right, it says Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Might as well, it's a pretty nice piece of art. There's the sketch for it. Finished one, yeah. Here's the postcard I made. Merry Christmas. I did this pretty quick too. I did this in one night. Right, and I don't like saying Happy Holidays, because I think it kind of defeats the purpose of Christmas. We're supposed to remember the birth of Christ, right? That's kind of the whole point. So I don't lean away from that at all. And actually, I love the whole propaganda of Christmas and Santa Claus and all that. It's kind of sweet. I think it's childlike wonder as well, and I think it's wholesome. So those are 2 things I did for the newspaper. And I was like, well, I really like these characters, and I think that the idea has some merit to it. This is a cover I've been working on. Right, you can see on the top there, I added all the characters' heads, just to emphasize, this is a big world I'm building. right? We got Oscar, the combatant, right? We have the Last Crusader, Dalton. Then we got Blinky, Flint, Stinky, Sir Michael. We got Grandmaster Time, great grandfather of Time. We got the Giant Guardian. We got Grandmaster Gloom. We got, I'm calling him Thorno, the Stone Man, the Stone Guard. We got Ducky, and then we got the Groundskeeper. Right, so let's check out my other books, whatnot. And yeah, it's got my other books there. And you can see little Finnegan Fox right there. That's his design from the other cover. And I've been, again, looking at the old Dell comics, and I really liked this title treatment where it says Giant Comics on the left. So I reformatted it, re-edited it, recolored it, and repurposed it because it's, I think, kind of cool. So here's like all of the characters in one place. I'm kind of thinking of having it be almost like a painted cover, one of like the vintage Dell painted covers that I love. So I'm kind of experimenting with that coloring style. You can see here are the first 2 ever drawings of these characters, right? I don't even have a name for the bug princess yet. I have no idea what I'm going to call her. And this little dude over here, this guy is going to be Splinter Boy. It's like the Tin Man meets Pinocchio meets the Scarecrow Man and all that from Wizard of Oz, mixed with Astro Boy and Pinocchio. I decided, like, well, I kind of need one too. He's kind of designed to look like those little mannequins, the posing mannequins for artists. His little hands, so he doesn't have fingers or anything. But he's a very sweet little wind-up kind of toy, and I'm making it so that, his heart is made out of it's like a little glass vial that holds, it's like in the shape of a heart, of course, that holds the magical tree sap from the Mercy Tree. So that's kind of the secret treasure as well as life, right, is mercy. So here are the characters and all that. So I'm having a great time kind of designing them. This is the little the Pump Kid, right? I don't know, I have a name for him yet. Bippy, probably. Little Bippy. So that's the cover that I've been working on. I have like a couple covers I've been working on, to be honest. But here's like it says 56 items down here. So I mean, I don't know if you could see that, but yeah, roughly 79 pages right now, currently where it stands. So obviously we're gonna have to streamline a lot of this book. Here we go. So this is one of the covers I have. I don't know if this is really the one I want to use, but it's kind of nice. Here is the actual interior pages to the book, which I'm absolutely in love with. Let me zoom out a bit. You guys can see the whole spread. So here you go. You see all the characters on the top left and stuff, and the title dress. I really love that one image of the orb and all the characters kind of in wonky perspective. So it's going to be called Tales from the Garden, The Dwellers in Giant Land. And the little Giant Land tidbit is an homage or a callback to the old black and white Mickey Mouse cartoon, Mickey in Giant Land, right? And they readapted that story a lot of, like, Jack and the Beanstalk with Mickey Mouse and stuff, or Gulliver's Travels and things. So I always love that stuff. So here I wrote that it was originally published and serialized in a Kid in a Comic newspaper in early pages from Junket number 0, number 1 and 2, and the Tales from the Garden holiday special. The holiday special was the Halloween book. So I'm gonna have over here, you could kind of barely see it, but it's the giant with all the characters on his head. We have the original first strip, right, from issue 1. So this is literally where it all began. I was like, I like this Blinky character. Let me turn him into a story. And Stinky is actually my partner's dog. She and I always called the dog Stinky. So I might as well just, I was like, oh, I like her. I'm going to integrate a little dog. Her name was Poe. She's still around today. So I always like to think that Poe is going to be immortalized in the comic. And yeah, little Stinky became a fan favorite. And here we go. This page right here is my absolute favorite out of all of them. And it's just like, wow. Whenever I show this to fans at conventions, they just like, oh wow, this is yours? You made all this? Wow. Like this right here really is what comics should feel like, right? Different worlds, transcendent imagination, and otherworldly kind of inspiration. So it's, yeah, man. You can see my inspiration from Jack Kirby, Thor, to all the Marvel stuff. This guy kind of looks like the Thing mixed with Crusher Creel, mixed with Thor as well. So we get the Flint the Bug one. I recolored it for this one in issue 2. It's only green. I was experimenting with some kind of stuff, some colors, ideas and stuff. But I decided just to recolor it it's in the same style, but just colored it appropriately so that everything is its own thing, not just different shades of green. This is one of the original stories I'm making. It's called The Underground Museum. So the characters go back into the Stone City, and they go into the museum to get the piece of the map they're missing. So they go, they put disguises on, and they walk through the marketplace, and they find the center city. So we get to explore that big image that I love. Now we're stepping foot into it. We're getting to see a little bit of what it is like living in the city. Right? So he turns the guards into crystals and stuff. You get to see the library on top left right there. Probably, again, one of my favorite panels I've done. So you get to see the entire library, the museum. It's got totem poles, old skeletons of dinosaurs and things, and it's just really fascinating for me to be able to put all of my imagination and ideas into one place. I think this is the only strip that works for that. So just to quickly go through it, they knock the library bookshelves down and the museum stuff. They get the map, they run away. I've been writing all of the actual words, so I know what the bubbles will say eventually. And I also leave space for the words now. So, it's you learn as you go. So Grandmaster Gloom is watching from afar, and they go and they stop and eat dinner at a dwarf's house while taking cover, right? The guards will chase them out, and eventually they'll be running away. And then it continues from that. You see, it's like a tie-in between the Flint comic, the Flint little 3-pager, and the newspaper comic. I wanted to be able to continue the story right where it leaves off, or build up the story. So we get to see here all of the stuff, the dwellers kind of, pages and things. The first appearance of the giant guardian, them fighting the snakes. So you see, I repurposed all the newspaper stuff, and I just put it here. This is the Hoblin camp scene from issue 0. I decided might as well use it because it's really good right before the Homebound issue. So again, it's just perfect. And yeah, we're gonna have this little blue head of a giant here is going to be resurrected and mixed in with columns and mountains and all sorts of things, and it's going to be the thing that fights our purple guardian. So yeah, I've got a lot of concepts and ideas here. The Legend of the Hoblins is something I originally drew back in 2023 for Halloween. Here's that cover sketch I had shown. This again, Sleepy Pumpkin, I rebranded it instead of Sleepy Halloween, and I took off the really weird, creepy image, and I put just a crow with a worm. Right? It also makes more sense visually and storytelling wise. But yeah, just kind of softening the edges. So yeah, that's the book I have so far. I've been remaking it, re-editing it, and I'm just having a blast. Really, just kind of making something brand new. I think it's worth it. I think the imagination's alive. I think it's really gonna take the world by storm, and I just think it's awesome. So yeah, I'm thinking of even turning this little image here into a bookmark for it. And who knows? I think that out of all of them, this is the one that has the most legs to grow into a kid's cartoon, animation, and imagination. So yeah, I'll update you guys about the future of this. Currently, it is November 2nd, 2025. So I'm trying to finish this before the end of the month so that I could still have time to finish the Christmas one for December 25th. And if not, it doesn't really matter because I still sell the Halloween one even though it's not Halloween, you know? So it's just gonna be there. It's just gonna be another junket book. But I figured these characters deserve their spotlight. These characters deserve their time of day. And so yeah, this has been Ray Net from Farlook Studios, and I hope you guys enjoyed my little presentation. I'll obviously overlay some of it with the online footage and stuff, but make sure to look for all my books on Amazon.com. Go to farlookstudios.com. I have an entire catalog of my portfolio as well. And we're making magic, you know, we're bringing it back to our roots and making something amazing. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.